Hey guys, this is my spin to win hybrid build you can use from the start of the game all the way to the end of the game. Alright, so number one, let's look at the skills. What are we going to use? Main four skills, Wings of Ishmir. The important rune here is Relentless Pursuit. That takes away the cooldown and makes it cost a stamina point every time you use it. Some of the extra runes you can use increase flight speed, makes it faster. Stunning Apparatus grants a damage buff for every enemy hit. So the bigger group of enemies, jump in there with that, you're going to get a huge damage boost. The next one, Bird of Prey. This one mixed with Rippling Impact. Rippling Impact will do a shockwave. Um, it's a nice visual to show you what exactly is going to be stunned by Bird of Prey. Also, when you jump into a group of champions, more than likely the shockwave damage is enough that it will break the mob, and then you can immediately start killing it while they're stunned. So they're broken and then they're stunned. Number two, Sovereign Shout. What's the important rune here? To rise again. That will restore your lost stamina points after you use it from jumping. Since we're using Relentless Pursuit, each time we use it, we're going to use up stamina, and then we'll get it back with our Sovereign Shout. What are some of the other runes? Hold the Line, extra tankiness, Conqueror of Will, gives it another stun. Hey, just in case we miss somebody, stun them again. Infectious Determination increases the duration of the buffs, as you can see here. 20% move speed, rage regeneration, all resistances, spellcasting, attack speed. That makes it last longer. Very, very nice quality of life. Raging Berserker, just another quality of life, gives you some extra rage. And then Red Earth Tracks. This is the big quality of life for making your mobility much higher, because you get the extra move speed while you're blade storming. Okay, number three, Bleeding Edge is going to be your boss killer. What's the important rune here? Unstoppable Momentum. That increases the duration of the skill up to about 4.5 seconds. Essentially, you can set it and forget it. As long as the boss is still standing in the spin, it'll kill it. Another option you can do is you can do Delayed Blade Spin, so you can cast it from range instead of actually having to cast it in melee. Some runes I like to use: increases the base weapon damage. It's always nice. Increase projectile speed, make it spin faster. I like that. Wicked Swing, increase the area effect. It's more likely to hit mobs or bosses. Sometimes they're just out of reach. Increase area effect, it'll hit them every time. And then another weapon damage increase. Highest weapon damage you can get with the 472% crit damage hits really hard. And then Blade Storm, yeah, spin to win. Okay, the important rune here is Unfettered Determination. This turns it into a whirlwind that you can control. Otherwise, you just have to click on random spots and slowly spin over there. Some runes that I like to use: increase rage generation from enemies killed, reduces the rage cost, that's quality of life. Increase crit damage, sure, throw in some crit damage. Weapon damage, throw in some extra damage. And increase the tick rate upon inflicting a critical hit. So you're spinning faster every time you crit. All right. Let's check out what kind of items do we want. You just started the game. You're like, hey, what's going on here? I don't know what's going on. Main thing, you want health. You want cooldown reduction. That'll give you more shouts, so you can do more jumps, get more rage. it's it's huge. It's pretty big. If you can, maybe even get some rage cost reduction on there, if possible. Stats are nice if you can get it. Otherwise, just normal stuff that is damage increases, crit damage, things like that. Material damage if you're using material. You know, my gear's not that great right now, as you can tell. But the important thing is you want enough health to where you're not dying. And then beyond that, you can either stack damage, stack quality of life, in this case, rage cost reduction. At that point, whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. You know, this has a little bit of everything: toughness, damage, move speed, all the above. If you can, try and get some resistances. Like this one is really nice. It has a lot of health, a lot of resistances, some resource generation, and then a lot of all resistances. It's pretty decent. So that's what you're looking for itemization from the start. Main thing is health, because with the passive tree, by level 22, you can get down to Salvatory Anchor and Elevated Gain with Disallowing Vessel and Secure Parry. What does that mean? That means if you have a Bruiser chest and a Bruiser headpiece, you will stack an amazing amount of health regen. So if you look here under my stats, while I'm standing still, or in this case, not moving, there's a difference. I'm actually regenerating 48,000 health regen right now. So by level 22 with those passives, you know, coming down here, get heat of battle, swing down. Actually, you don't need to heat of battle. I'll put a link in the description with what the build will look like. Basically, you come down, get these, and swing straight down to Salvatory Anchor and Elevated Gain. And the main one, Secure Parry. So every point there is gonna multiply your health regen. So by level 22, you're a super tank, and then you can start just getting any kind of damage passives you want. So let's talk about the end game. What does the end game look like? Skills, pretty much the same. You know, by like in some cases level 26, even earlier, you can already get Unfettered Determination. That's your main one. In this case, Wings of Ishmir, that's your main one. So by the end game, I think this is 47 or 49. Let's see, 47. So by 47, you'll have all of these unlocked. So the skills, you already have the in-game skills. For itemization, it still remains the same. You want health. If you can get all resistances, get those. If you can get some cooldown reduction, you want that. And then whatever damage or quality of life you can get, that's your itemization at the end game for now. Let's talk about the passive tree. What are we looking at for the passive tree end game? Okay, so main things: heat of battle. You want to get your major nodes. Wild card, that'll give you your crit. Come over here, get Bestial Frenzy. That'll give you your damage buff for each enemy. Big one, Manic Slaughter, 2% damage per 100 unspent rage points. This is very powerful for when you start a boss fight. You'll see we're actually stacking a lot of things when we start a boss fight. So by the time our first initial jump into a boss is going to be the important one. It's not going to make or break it. It's just going to be our biggest damage. Appetite for Bloodshed, nice quality of life. And you already have these. Salvatory Anchor for your tankiness, your Siege Breaker. Coming up towards Sentinel, cooldown reduction, extra stamina points. Moving up towards Praetorian up here. Praetorian, in this case, is just to get us to the side trees. So, little damage bonus up here, an Arms Maester. Big one, coming up towards Clandestine Execution, 25% damage, essentially on bosses. It works for only one enemy, and a boss, there's only one enemy. Big one, Merciless Lethality, 100% critical hit damage. 100% critical hit damage, 30% regular damage. Doesn't matter. Everything we want is crits. You got over 50% crit chance. So everything is crits. Big one for tankiness. Up here in Dire Juncture, you only take 40% damage of an enemy's attack when it hits. The rest is inflicted after 1 second after the hit. It reduces your health to 85% of the maximum, and with the modifier, it reduces it only to 90%. So you're going to take a hit in your health, but you're also going to be able to stagger the damage taken. So, for example, if a boss hits you, let's say they're doing a big charge and it hits you, 40% will be taken initially. The other 60% will be taken on the same tick of your health regen. So, as long as that second tick doesn't kill you either, you're just going to heal back to full. In this case, with my gear and my setup, 48,000 health regen. That's more than my bar. That's basically a bar and a half of health. So if I get hit my first hit for 15,000, okay, my health drops in half. Oh no, 60% damage on the next tick. I'm gonna heal it back. Okay, the other tanky one. So this dire juncture is similar to World of Warcraft Monk. If you guys know about stagger, that's basically what it is. This other one over here is like World of Warcraft Death Knights. You gain a tenant point every 2.5 seconds up to 5, and per tenant point with the modifier, you're taking 20% less damage per hit. So that's up to 5 hits, and then it refreshes every 2.5 seconds. So when you start a boss fight, you're going to have 20% damage reduction. Okay, you're going to have 25% damage increase. As we move into the later game, you're also going to get acute tracking. So when we start a boss fight, while in combat, you gain cold blood points every 2 seconds up to a maximum of 5. Ideally, we'll have a mob. Actually, there pretty much always is. There's some mobs right in front of the boss. All you have to do is kill them. Stack your cold blood, kill them. So you'll start the boss fight with 50% damage increase. Then we'll swing down here. A little point here, a little point there. Going to swing down to Furious Appetite. This is a nice quality of life. Essentially, your willpower generation, all that stuff, you're going to passively generate rage instead of willpower. So you still will gain willpower as you use Blade Storm, as you use Bleeding Edge, but it will push more of it towards generating rage as opposed to generating willpower. You will never generate willpower with this. It's very nice. You can also get Frenzied Blows. Now, what that does, it doubles your damage, but also doubles your rage cost. So you're going to spawn less axes, but they're going to do far more damage. And this mixes with static transferal. So you put a point here, a point there, come down. Static transferal with the extra point, and they're halved. So what does this mean? That means on a boss fight, we have damage from here, damage from here, damage from here, a double damage here, and then another double damage here. So you gain 6% damage per overload point. Basic attacks generate 1 overload point up to 6. Using a skill consumes all overload points but doubles the damage. So you're not only getting the extra damage, 36% damage, but it's also doubling the damage of the skill. And with the modifier, your overload points are halved, so you can cast it twice. So let's say, for example, we're doing a boss fight. Okay, there's a couple mobs in front. Jump, 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 jump. Stack your cold-blooded points. Your branded burst will be stacked by the time you get to the boss. All your points will be stacked. Your Alistair points, basic attack the mobs a little bit. Get those points stacked up. So when you're ready for the boss, jump, 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 shout, get full rage. Essentially, your Bleeding Edge will get a double damage bonus here and a double damage bonus here. It's going to cost a lot, so hopefully the boss doesn't move, But if the boss stays there, yeah, you're going to be doing somewhere possibly quadruple damage. Gonna be big. Gonna be big. So that's what you're looking for the passive tree. What does this mean? Let's give an example. I'm level 69. I've worked through champion. I am starting on master. You know, I'm still working on getting some levels so I can get the rest of these. I'm working towards Furious Appetite right now, just for the quality of life. And then I'll probably get Static Transferal next. So that's what it's going to look like. I'll leave a link in the description with the lower level, because from friends and from comments and whatnot I've received, people are having issue with Act 1. And from what I've seen, it's mainly because there's no heals. You know, you have 2 health pots, the guy hits really hard, you have no way to heal yourself. So in this case, by level 22, most people are probably in their 20s when they fight him. Swing down here. All you need, these 2 talents. Maybe this one if you want a little extra. All you have to do is put in a bruiser chest piece, bruiser head piece. That's all. It's going to give you a ton of health regen. You won't need potions after that. So let's see what this looks like. Let's try our first master. Normally I would be using Bladestorm a lot more, but as you can see, the enemies are level 100, and I'm level 69 with not very good gear. So I'm going to be using axes a lot more. And you'll see in boss fights, I'll use axes and even base attacks a lot more, just because there's not enough rage to go around. And with the endgame build, you'll actually want to use basic attacks to store up double damage points for your axe as well. That's why I call it a hybrid. So there's spin to win for all the little stuff. Anything with basically over 500,000 health, you're going to want to use your bleeding edge. There we go. If possible, you want to try and clear out these little side dungeons. Any enemies killed down here counts towards your hunt down enemies bar. So you don't have to go chasing mobs in the outer map. It's pretty nice. As you can see, Shockwave is enough damage to kill the little stuff by itself and even break some of these mobs before you get to them. We'll use a little bit of basic attack here just to keep our axes spinning. Oh, I guess they won't let me move. So yeah, this build is basically already working 30 levels above my, or yeah, 30 levels above me. And it'll get better as I get the other talent points and gear and whatnot. So I'd say this build's decently strong right now. Will it change in the future? It's a good question. Depends on what the devs do. It'll be really nice once I get that passive rage generation. It'll be a little bit easier to come by rage. The important thing to watch out for is if you look at your willpower, has the two little arrows going down. If that starts to get really high, like 4 arrows at that point, you should probably just wait a second. See, in my case, it's going 4 all the way down. Just let it tick down until you get Child of Fury. That way you can actually get full rage back. If you're feeling, oh no, I'm gonna die, switch into your apocalyptic form. Apocalyptic form. There's nothing wrong with that. Finish him off. GG. Assuming it will kill him. There we go. So until I get better gear, I'll probably do that. just so I can make sure I don't die, because I don't like dying. There we go. Yeah, the cancel animation stuff is not working correctly. But anyway, so that's master. Died more than I was supposed to, but hey, I wasn't too careful. So essentially, that's the build. Works pretty well. Level 70, or almost level 70. Gonna get points into Child of Fury, Fierce Appetite, Frenzy Blows. I'm down, status transferal, it's points. Also, if you want, there's about 6 or 7 points you can play around with if you've made it to the end of this video. The agility here, toughness here, ferocity here, toughness there. You can even remove worthy adversary and battlefield predator if you wish. If you want to go to something more directed, like if you want to go material damage, academic field work, gods amongst men, blood reaper, pretty much anything you want. There's up to 7 points you can play around with. If you want to stack more things, if you want to do more basic attacks, pugilist momentum, whatever you want. So if you don't have to follow this directly. There's 7 points you can play around with if you don't want just straight stats. Personally, I like straight stats. So if I needed to, I could take those 7 points out, stack up all resistance, health, things like that. So there you go. If you guys have any questions or comments, hit me up. Peace.